Yeah, it's gonna be windy. You're gonna hear a lot of that. Anyway, I am surprised that there is one new place. I was gonna say there are new places, but I see just one. I honestly, as I'll probably be gonna be repeating myself here, is the Popcorn Castle. I'm not at all surprised that it failed. I don't even think it was gonna survive even without COVID-19 hitting. It was a nice idea, but the mom and pops plus the rent of malls, it just doesn't work. I didn't hope for it to fail, obviously. It would have been great if a mom and pop made it. Anyway, that furniture store, there's rumors, I don't know if it's true or false, rumors that they might expand and move into Macy's. Who knows? Could be false. But we all know there's two things that people in the city of Leominster would like to see in either here and or here at the former Sears. A Christmas tree shop, which I don't care for, and something people my age would, a Dave & Buster's. They love the single-story Sears stores. This should be one of their ideal places because it does cover a 20-mile radius of over 200,000 people. Because it does tag Worcester ever so slightly. Anyway, that's how the mall is faring before Halloween 2020. And George F551 saying, hope you enjoyed, and have a good one.
We start by walking past the former Sears, which Spirit Halloween has set up shop for the month of October. I have figured out how to set the date and time, but it's not really worth the effort. Plus, I like to keep people guessing as to when exactly it happened. So, we're entering the opposite end as we did the previous time, and we are walking up to the Sears. And these micro cameras, they're hard to keep straight, and they're hard to keep steady, so they like to flop around a little bit or go a little crooked. Sometimes they just stay crooked. Anyway, there's the Sears, and surprisingly, you can't even tell Spirit Halloween is in there. It almost looks like it doesn't even exist. And there is a hair salon. There used to be a hair salon way down there. Now it's restrooms. Then we got the Lens Crafters. And then over here where the brick top and the white trim is, that used to be a Friendly's. When that closed, nothing ever moved back in there. Rest and Relaxation Spa, that's where Radio Shack used to be. There used to be a clothing store at Dollar and Things, but now it's a Dollar and Things. There's Rest and Relaxation, Dollar and Things. And one of the funny thing is, as I said, the Dollar and Things was a KB, and we're coming up to the now dead Victoria's Secret. It was kind of funny that you had a toy store next to a lingerie shop. Then, of course, Spencer's Gifts over there. Old Navy doing pretty well. And another dead storefront. This is a mall that is definitely struggling. The pandemic isn't really helping. It's not a dead mall, but it is not faring as well as it could, and we're just getting out of the way of some people that were heading towards Old Navy's. Claire's, store that's doing really badly, but somehow in a struggling mall, it still exists. Usually they close up in the struggling malls. And then, as I've heard, the Bath & Body Works there, as I've heard, those are kind of like the mall cockroaches, where they don't die till the mall does. AT&T, as you're about to see, this particular store is closed due to the pandemic. And the funny thing is, you'll see that further up, is that another mobile phone store is open. Funny thing is that they also have a location literally in a strip mall on the other side of the main road, yet they have a store in the mall as well, which I find interesting. So you got the American Eagle Outfitters, which is doing okay, as well as Hanoush. And over to the right, as we've seen in the first video, and we can't look in anymore because it's been papered over, the windows to the former Chuck E. Cheese. Now, we do not go into any of the department stores, so it's just a walk around the mall to see how it's doing. The glass, the storefront with the glass, that used to be a Chinese food place when this particular wing opened. And the Sbarro's is, or should I say, used to be where the lime green or avocado colored part is. That's the way in from the other side. And it looks like the Burlington's actually doing pretty well. In fact, I don't know how many years it's been since a store has been in the former Chinese food location, which, hey, that's a thing, that's a plus. So now we're just picking up some steam because we really don't need to be looking too much more over here because we've seen what there is. It's just a long hallway with nothing in it besides a Hanush and an American Eagle, which we've already looked at. Then there was a Pac Sun that was right there. I, for the longest time, kept calling it Journeys, when Journeys is still functioning and right next to it over there. The surprise that you can see on the right is, and we'll get a better look later, is the Maurice is gone. Now that took over the CVS that used to be there. CVS moved out because they wanted to get rid of their rental locations and open up their own locations that they own. So that CVS closed, not because the mall was doing poorly. In a little bit, you'll see that the Aerospostale, which has been vacant for so long, has a new tenant in it. And you can still see that there's quite a bit of vacancies over there. There used to be a frozen yogurt shop there, not anymore. And I forget what's in that spot, but that's closed now. And then you could tell the mall was desperate for customers because you got Leominster Wireless. And then here's the surprise I was telling you about, T-Mobile, where the AT&T is closed because of the virus. The other two are open. And then we got the Foot Locker, which used to actually be down closer towards the Sears at one point. And then Kay's Jewelers. And then the so-called food court, although now with this pandemic they severely limited the amount of tables. There's literally only 3 in the entire thing. Now, rumor mill has it that the Encore Shoes closed, but as you can see, it's doing pretty well for a store that went out of business. So, whoever mentioned that, they were a bit off. There have been stores that closed since the pandemic reopening. But as you can see, Encore Shoes still alive and well, and we're passing the long dead Olympia Sports on the right. You'll see it as we make the circle around. And over here used to be a kids' play place, but of course, due to the pandemic, it is closed. It also seems to have fewer things in it. Anyway, we are heading towards the J.C. Penney, and as we walk by, besides these 2 people walking in, I only found 2 other people in the store. The parking lot looked very, very bare. I have seen it doing much better than this, and not all that long ago either. In fact, I went in this area Thursday to run an errand, and the parking lot had quite a few people. Today, not so much. Oddly enough, being a weekend, there's the dead Olympia, and the Payless Shoe Source was to the left of that. So now we're heading the other way. And there's a mom and pop pizza store which used to be a Sbarro's, which I honestly think it's still kind of a Sbarro's, just without the name, because the pizza tastes exactly the same. It's made exactly the same. Probably some slight variations. Here again, the supposed food court. Auntie Anne's is still doing okay, Kay's. And one noticeable difference here is the popcorn castle was no longer there. I hate to say it, but when it opened, I didn't think it was gonna make it. Not that it was a bad idea. It was the fact that you're leasing mall space and a mom and pop is not really gonna do well in a mall, being with the ridiculous rents and a larger storefront. It was just doomed. I was hoping it would make it though. Anyway, the Rue 21 and a California Nails. So, as I said up here, the Aerospostale has been filled in. It's been vacant for the longest time. East and West, not sure if that's a goner or closed because of the COVID crisis. The Dead Store, and we have the Eyebrow Studio. What was it? I forgot what it was. Studio 23. I do these on the fly. I record these things and then I'm talking as I'm watching the little window as the video rolls through the editor. And behind us is the GameStop, probably the one thing that I probably wish would die and go away. There's a lot of gamers hate that place. They have a horrendous practice. I stopped getting my stuff there when I used to do consoles. Again, the American Eagle Outfitter, passing the former PAX Sun. And one thing, oddly enough, and I was going to look in, but they had it all covered. So we couldn't really look in and see the Dead Store. So it's lost some tenants, but it also gained one. Maybe another one I just haven't realized. So one thing I did not notice until I started doing this little walkthrough, even though it was plain as day when I was walking up the other way, is all the kiosks are gone. So you got the Old Navy. It used to be in a much bigger store, now it's in a much smaller one, and it's pretty cramped. There's the Dead Macy's wing, but there is another Salon way up there, and we're just going to go far enough to just show you that it's still up and running. We didn't go all the way up like we did in the previous video, because there's no point. So there you go, yet another Salon. The mall is turning into a salon house. Whatever makes the rent payments for Hull Properties. Whatever makes the mortgage payment. Like I said, these are done on the fly as I'm watching it in the editor. There's no prepared statements. If you want truly professional quality stuff on this kind of material, there's Sal, there's Ace's Adventures, there's Retail Archaeology. Those people make a living doing this, and this is just sidebar material for this channel. And again, we're passing to Joanne. And I've mentioned this before, is, for the most part, that side of the mall is reversed to how it originally was. Woolworths used to be the big anchor on this side, and it was on the opposite end, and then the small stores were near the Sears. It's the other way now, but what you don't see is not open to the mall, but on the outside is a Panera Bread, which is behind Joanne's somewhere. And once again, we're passing the Sears. Surprisingly, you can't even tell that Spirit Halloween is there. It's so small and so far back. And that's the look at what's at Sears Town Mall, as we old people call it, or the mall at Whitney Field, October 2020. I was in such a rush I forgot to record an ending for this, so it's going to end us walking out of the mall. And that'll be it. George F551 saying hope you enjoyed and have a good one.